Presenter TV, a radical evolution toward the 2026 electric monster. The world of Formula One stands on the precipice of its most extreme transformation in a decade, a technical revolution poised to permanently alter the landscape of speed. The 2026 regulation changes are not mere revisions. They represent a total overhaul of the racing DNA we have come to know. With power distribution now reaching a balanced 50-50 ratio between the internal combustion engine and electrical units, these future machines will demand brutal energy management. A weight reduction of 30 kilograms and a slimmer physical profile create asphalt phantoms that are more agile yet incredibly volatile. Amidst this storm of change, every technical indicator points toward one terrifying conclusion for the rest of the grid. These new rules seem specifically engineered to amplify Max Verstappen's absolute dominance on the racetrack. The massive MGU-K surge, testing the driver's limits. The mechanical heart of 2026 introduces an electrical output surge that is truly staggering, leaping from 120 kilowatts to a massive 350 kilowatts. This 192% increase fundamentally changes how a Formula One car accelerates out of corners. Without the MGU-H system, which previously smoothed out power delivery, the torque curve will become far more aggressive and difficult for average drivers to tame. This is where Verstappen's absolute advantage lies. His ability to control instant power surges with neurosurgical precision will be a lethal weapon.
While other drivers struggle just to keep the rear end stable under the immense electrical load, Max is predicted to exploit every single watt of additional power to shatter the lap times of his rivals in a cold, dominant fashion that leaves no room for error or recovery. The active Aero dance and the death of traditional DRS. The era of conventional drag reduction systems, DRS, is ending, replaced by active moving wing technology that is far more complex and dynamic. In 2026, drivers will no longer simply press a button while trailing an opponent. They must strategically manage aerodynamic configurations on every single lap. The shift between straight mode and overtake mode creates a layer of cognitive load that will paralyze the concentration of many drivers under high pressure. However, for a driver like Verstappen, who is deeply accustomed to high-level simulation, this aerodynamic transition is merely an extension of his natural instincts. Max's ability to make split-second decisions while modulating the airflow around his car will make him nearly impossible to hunt down during wheel-to-wheel duels on the track. Verstappen's eye-wateringly sharp driving signature. Deep analysis from experts like Alex Albon reveals the dark secret behind Max's speed, a preference for a car setup that is incredibly sharp and prone to extreme oversteer.
For a normal driver, piloting Verstappen's car is like trying to control a computer mouse set to maximum sensitivity. One tiny movement can lead to disaster. However, the 2026 regulations, which result in 30% less downforce, naturally create a car that is agile, light, and inherently unstable. This is Max's playground. Where other drivers find the car terrifying and unpredictable, Verstappen will feel right at home. He possesses the unique ability to balance a car technically considered too pointy by the rest of the grid, turning inherent instability into pure, unadulterated speed that others simply cannot match. Strategic mastery in electrical battery management. Helmut Marko has openly stated that intellectual intelligence behind the wheel will be the primary deciding factor for winning the 2026 World Championship. Future drivers must be both technicians and athletes, calculating remaining battery life while hurtling at 355 kilometers per hour with total precision. Verstappen stands out as the only pilot capable of driving at the absolute limit while simultaneously thinking strategically about electrical power distribution. He does not rely solely on the speed of his feet. He utilizes an extraordinary mental capacity to map out energy usage across every sector of the circuit. This multitasking ability will create a vast chasm between Max and drivers who rely only on physical talent, turning his every maneuver into a cold, calculated checkmate against his competitors.
A simulator TV, providing a cognitive advantage. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff admitted that the simulator-bred generation of drivers, led by Max Verstappen, possesses a massive cognitive advantage for the 2026 rules. The virtual world has trained Max's brain to process vast amounts of data and manage complex electronic systems without losing focus on the racing line. Verstappen's love for sim racing is not just a hobby, it is a mental laboratory that has prepared him for the digital workload of the new hybrid era. When real cars begin to behave like complex software interfaces, Max's adaptability will be at an unreachable level. He has spent thousands of hours in simulation perfecting his reactions to system anomalies, giving him an instinctive edge that far surpasses any driver who follows a more traditional analog approach. The giant gamble in Milton Keynes, homegrown power. Behind the walls of Red Bull's state-of-the-art facility in Milton Keynes, history is being written with incredibly high stakes for the team's future. For the first time, Red Bull is building its own engine from scratch, an ambitious project involving a mass defection of top engineers from Mercedes. Supported by battery technology from Ford, this engine has already reached full stress testing on the dyno, with Max describing the sound as crisp and promising.
While many doubt whether a racing team can suddenly become a world-class engine manufacturer, the massive infrastructure they have built proves their deadly seriousness. If this project succeeds, Red Bull will no longer depend on external partners, giving Max a perfectly integrated package that could extinguish the hopes of all rivals. The cold tech war and compression ratio controversies. Behind the scenes, political tensions are peaking regarding engine regulation loopholes that could provide a decisive edge in 2026. Reports suggest that Red Bull and Mercedes have discovered secret methods to achieve higher compression ratios through thermal expansion manipulation. This has triggered a wave of protests and letters of clarification from Ferrari, Honda, and Audi, who feel threatened by this potential technical advantage. This cold technological war highlights how crucial every minor detail is in developing these highly restricted new power units. If Red Bull manages to maintain their radical innovations within the FIA's legal framework, Verstappen will be armed with an engine possessing superior combustion efficiency, providing an unmatched explosive power advantage when the new era begins. Retirement threats and Max's quality standards. Despite a contract running through 2028, Verstappen's future in Formula One depends heavily on one thing: whether these new cars provide genuine driving pleasure.
Presenter TV host. Max has honestly stated that if the 2026 regulations produce cars that are boring or too dependent on system management rather than skill, he will not hesitate to walk away. For him, winning 7 world titles is not the ultimate goal if his competitive spirit is stifled by restrictive rules. This pressure provides extra motivation for Red Bull to create a car that is not only fast, but also perfectly suited to their star's aggressive style. This threat of early retirement creates a dramatic narrative where 2026 could either be Max's greatest triumph or the final dance of a monster who feels he has nothing left to prove. Australia 2026, the moment of dominance or downfall. All the speculation, simulation data, and technical debates will finally meet their answer when the lights go out in Melbourne, Australia in 2026. Preseason testing in Barcelona might offer glimpses, but the true hierarchy will only be revealed under real racing conditions. If Red Bull delivers a reliable engine and Max translates his full skill set into these new regulations, we may witness the most one-sided season in the history of the sport. Without meaningful competition, Verstappen has the potential to turn Formula One into a one-man show where he stands alone without a peer. The world is waiting with bated breath to see if 2026 will birth a fierce new rivalry or simply cement Max Verstappen as an unstoppable monster who has finally evolved beyond the reach of the rest.